Hello, my loving friends. Welcome back to the Great English Podcast. I'm Catherine, and with me is my co-host, Mark.
Hi, everyone. We're thrilled to have you with us today. In this episode, we're diving into some crucial topics: global warming, climate change, and population decline.
That's right, Mark. These issues are not only important for understanding our world, but they also provide a great opportunity to expand your English vocabulary and comprehension.
So, grab your notebooks and get ready to learn some new words and concepts. Let's get started.
First, let's talk about global warming. Global warming refers to the long-term heating of Earth's climate system due to human activities, primarily the emission of greenhouse gases.
Greenhouse gases, like carbon dioxide and methane, trap heat in the Earth's atmosphere. This is known as the greenhouse effect.
Here's a simple sentence to illustrate. The burning of fossil fuels releases greenhouse gases into the atmosphere.
Fossil fuels include coal, oil, and natural gas. When we burn these fuels for energy, we release a lot of carbon dioxide, which contributes to global warming.
Another key term is carbon footprint. Your carbon footprint is the total amount of greenhouse gases you produce, directly or indirectly.
For example, driving a car, using electricity, and even the food you eat can contribute to your carbon footprint.
Now, let's discuss the effects of global warming. One major effect is rising temperatures. Over the past century, the Earth's average temperature has increased by about 1.2 degrees Celsius.
This might not sound like much, but it has significant consequences. For instance, higher temperatures can lead to more extreme weather events, like heat waves and storms.
Melting ice caps are another consequence. As global temperatures rise, glacier and ice sheets in places like Antarctica and Greenland are melting faster.
This contributes to rising sea levels, which can lead to flooding in coastal areas. Cities like Miami and New York are at risk.
Now, let's have a quick discussion. Mark, what do you think are some ways we can reduce our carbon footprint?
Well, Catherine, there are many ways. We can reduce energy use by turning off lights and using energy-efficient appliances. We can also use public transportation or ride bikes instead of driving.
Great points. Listeners, think about your own carbon footprint. What changes can you make to reduce it?
Additionally, we can support renewable energy sources like solar and wind power. These sources produce electricity without emitting greenhouse gases.
Another effective method is to reduce, reuse, and recycle. By minimizing waste and reusing materials, we can significantly lower our carbon emissions.
And let's not forget about our diets. Reducing meat consumption, especially beef, can lower methane emissions from livestock.
Excellent point, Mark. Now, let's move on to another interactive activity. Listeners, take a moment to think about the last meal you had. What ingredients were in it, and how might they have contributed to your carbon footprint?
While you're thinking, let's talk about some global initiatives. The Paris Agreement, for instance, is an international treaty aimed at reducing carbon emissions worldwide.
Under this agreement, countries have committed to limiting global warming to below 2 degrees Celsius, with efforts to limit it to 1.5 degrees.
This requires a collective effort from governments, businesses, and individuals. Everyone has a role to play in combating global warming.
Absolutely. And with that, let's move on to our next segment, climate change.
Moving on to climate change. Climate change is a broader term that refers to long-term changes in temperature, precipitation, wind patterns, and other aspects of the Earth's climate.
It's important to note that while global warming is a cause of climate change includes a variety of changes, not just warming.
For example, some regions might experience more intense rainfall, while others might face prolonged droughts.
Let's introduce some key vocabulary: climate, weather patterns, sustainability, and carbon emissions.
Climate refers to the average weather conditions in a region over a long period of time. For example, the climate in Brazil is typically hot and humid.
Weather patterns are the regular variations in weather that occur in a particular area. For instance, weather patterns in India include the monsoon season.
Sustainability is the ability to maintain something at a certain rate or level. For example, sustainable practices ensure that we don't deplete natural resources.
Carbon emissions refer to the release of carbon, particularly carbon dioxide, into the atmosphere. Reducing carbon emissions is crucial for combating climate change.
Let's discuss the impact of climate change. One major effect is on ecosystems and wildlife. For instance, polar bears are losing their habitat due to melting ice.
Another impact is on human health. Extreme heat can cause heat stroke and other health issues, especially in vulnerable populations.
Economies are also affected. For example, agriculture can suffer due to unpredictable weather patterns, leading to food shortages.
Now, let's talk about solutions and mitigation. What can individuals and communities do to combat climate change?
We can reduce our carbon emissions by using renewable energy sources like solar and wind power. Governments can also implement policies to support sustainable practices.
Planting trees is another effective way to combat climate change. Trees absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen, helping to balance the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere.
Speaking of solutions, Catherine, have you heard about carbon offset programs?
Yes, Mark. Carbon offset programs allow individuals and companies to invest in environmental projects that reduce carbon emissions, effectively balancing out their own carbon footprint.
Examples include reforestation projects, renewable energy initiatives, and methane capture from landfills.
Another interesting concept is the circular economy. This model focuses on designing products and systems that minimize waste and make the most of resources.
In a circular economy, products are reused, repaired, refurbished, and recycled, creating a closed-loop system that reduces the need for new resources.
It's a fascinating approach that can significantly reduce environmental impact. Listeners, consider how you can incorporate circular economy principles into your daily life.
Now, let's engage our listeners with another interactive activity. Think about the last product you bought. Was it something that could be reused or recycled? How can you make more sustainable choices in the future?
While you reflect on that, let's discuss the importance of education and awareness. Understanding climate change and its effects is crucial for driving action.
Schools, universities, and community organizations can play a vital role in educating people about sustainable practices and the science behind climate change.
And media, including podcasts like ours, can help spread the message and inspire change. Speaking of which, we hope you're finding this information useful and engaging.
Remember, every small action counts. Whether it's reducing your carbon footprint, supporting renewable energy, or making sustainable choices, we can all contribute to combating climate change.
Let's move on to our final topic for today: population decline. Our final topic today is population decline. Population decline occurs when the number of people in a region decreases over time.
This can happen for several reasons, such as low birth rates, high death rates, or emigration.
Let's introduce some key vocabulary: demographics, birth rate, aging population, and urbanization.
Demographics refer to the statistical characteristics of human populations. For example, demographics can provide insights into the age, gender, and income distribution of a population.
The birth rate is the number of live births per 1,000 people in a given year. Japan has a low birth rate, contributing to its population decline.
An aging population means that a higher percentage of the population is elderly. Italy is facing challenges due to its aging population.
Urbanization is the process of people moving from rural areas to cities. Urbanization can lead to population decline in rural areas.
Let's discuss the consequences of population decline. One major impact is on the economy. Fewer people can mean a smaller workforce, which can slow economic growth.
Social services can also be affected. For instance, with more elderly people and fewer working-age individuals, there can be increased pressure on the healthcare and pension systems.
Education systems might face challenges too. Fewer children can lead to school closures and reduced funding for education.
Now, let's talk about potential solutions. Governments can implement policies to encourage higher birth rates, such as offering financial incentives for families with children.
Immigration is another solution. By welcoming immigrants, countries can boost their populations and fill gaps in the workforce.
Supporting families is crucial. Providing affordable childcare, parental leave, and flexible work options can help increase birth rates.
Let's engage our listeners. What are the population trends in your country or region? Have you noticed any effects of population decline? Share your experiences with us.
Let's delve deeper into the issue of an aging population. This is a significant concern for many developed countries where the birth rate is low and the life expectancy is high.
An aging population can lead to a higher dependency ratio, which is the ratio of the non-working population to the working-age population.
This means fewer people are working to support more retirees. It can strain public services like healthcare and pensions, and it can also impact economic productivity.
Countries like Japan and Germany are already facing these challenges. They are implementing various strategies to cope, such as promoting immigration and encouraging higher birth rates.
Another aspect to consider is the social impact. With fewer young people, communities can feel the loss of vibrancy and innovation that younger generations typically bring.
To counter this, some countries are investing in technology and automation to maintain productivity levels despite a shrinking workforce.
We hope today's episode has given you valuable insights and expanded your English vocabulary. Remember, every small action counts towards making a positive impact.
Thank you for joining us today. If you found this episode helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our podcast.
And don't forget to leave your comments and suggestions. We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, keep learning and stay curious. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.